Hello, welcome to the Pinch of Mischief live show for Ghost Story. Oh, it's better on screen even. The Ghost Story Society by Phill Hichkes. Most of us have read it this weekend together, so. But this is the first time we're gonna talk about it. With our thoughts. The first part will be spoiler free, but after that, we will use spoilers. There will be a big pink spoiler text on screen. So that is your cue to get out. But first, it's 6. Hello, Larissa. How are you doing? Long time no see. I had my tabs here, so I still didn't tab the whole book, but I think it's fine. I think it's fine without tabs. Hello, Lina. How are you doing? Something flew by the window, and it got distracted, but I don't know what it is. It's a bit overlight. Let's see what I can do about it. Right? 3 very long hours. Hello, just a by saying hi. I haven't read the book. That's all fine. That's all fine. We won't go into spoilers anyway in the start, so you're safe. You did enjoy the first book though, right? As usual, we will start with atmosphere, characters, plot, and that's usually when we dive into spoilers, because plot is hard without spoilers, so that don't take long normally. Also, the husband is not home yet, so I'm waiting for him to come home. Not got any biscuits because I've not had dinner yet, but I've got a can of fizzy drink and some well, fine. I do have biscuits. Oh, there they are. Hello, you all. Hello. As I'm not, and I don't mind spoilers. I'm not planning to read it, but yet, yes. First, I want to jump another. Yeah, that's absolutely fair. That's absolutely fair. You're very welcome to hang it out with us, even though you haven't read the book. That's all fair. I just finished dinner. Stuffed bell peppers. Oh, that's a good one. And had a shower, so also no biscuit for me though. No, well, they're here because I know I want them later on. And I had 2 before this live show started, so. When I got the tin of biscuits out, so that was also not smart. So shall we just start with atmosphere? Although I do think we're missing a few, or I know we're missing a few people that have read it. Alright, I popped it in the Discord once again, so we can just start. Atmosphere-wise. I think there's still enough atmosphere. Like, we're still in a creepy school. That is, you know, gothic infrastructure. I do think this topic was kind of less creepy as the first topic was. But overall, I think the atmosphere was still good. That's why I love Phill Hichkes. I think that's what he does best, the atmosphere. The first one more than... Yeah, I agree, Larissa. I did like the atmosphere in the first one more than in this book. That is true. But I still think it was there enough. Like, it was still creepy enough. Hello, Kate. How you doing? Long time no see. We were just talking about the atmosphere. We literally just started. And I said that, you know, it's still in a creepy mansion. Kind of school. It still has the gothic architecture. So I think it's still good enough. And Larissa pointed out that she liked the atmosphere in the first book better. And I do agree with that. And that's how far we got, Kate. So you didn't miss a lot. That's it. That's how far we got. And I do think that the topic of the first book, that's also what I said. I think the topic of the first book is creepier than the topic of this book. Therefore, the atmosphere was better in the first book. And I do think it depends on topic for me. Because his third book in the Evelyn Jones series was not a scary topic for me, so the atmosphere was less. But then the favorite book in the Evelyn Jones series was the same topic as this book. So he can do it with this topic. The first book was a bit creepier. Yeah, I do think so. And therefore I love it more. Because of the... So, what did you all gave the star rating? Because I know from most of you, but I don't think I can remember from all of you. I'm gonna give this 4 stars. The other one was 5. This is a 4 star. That's how you focus, otherwise you're not. You focus on anything but the book. That's why it's on the screen. 4 stars for Larissa. Yes. And I remember Ayold giving it 4 stars too. I think it's gonna be a 4 star overall. Oh, hello, birdie. You're so close. You're so close, birdie. Why is there a... What the... There is an orange thing in my garden and I have no clue what it is. I should just put that whole thing down. Because it's a... Why? Why have I decided to go sit next to the window? Because it's too distracting for me. 4 stars, the lowest Hichkes has gotten for me. Same. It's the lowest he got for me too. But I do prefer this one over the third book in the Evelyn Jones series. And it was funny because he replied on Instagram, but because, you know, I've been taking him all weekend, so he was probably done with it. And no, it's he has 2 accounts now, and I take now both, and then I immediately got a reaction. So I think he's more active on the one he replied on, and he said, "I hope you liked it." I was like, "I did," but I was sure that this was a duology instead of a trilogy, and he said that he was in his depths writing an all-girls school, which is fair. As a man, I think it's fair. So yeah, that might be part why. I'm not sure, still not sure if it is always meant to be a duology or a trilogy, but 4 stars for me too. Stephanie also gave 4 stars. All 4 stars. That is funny. I don't think we ever been this aligned. that everybody gave it the same rating. Same for me. The Last Evelyn Jones is my least favorite of his. Same, because to me, fairies are not scary. First, everybody gave first. This is the first time we all rated it exactly the same, and I think that's very interesting. I love it. Then characters, and oh boy, do I think you guys have something to tell about the characters. I have heard little tidbits this weekend, and I don't agree. So this is gonna be interesting. It didn't end like it's due, so I need another one. Do you feel like that, Stephanie? Because I felt like it wrapped up pretty nicely. But maybe this is a spoilery thing, and you can tell us what you wanted more of in the spoiler parts. Because I think it rounded up pretty nicely. But then I would not be upset if he did another one in this school, because I just like the setting of the school. This is my least favorite of his. Classic old school fairies are scary like the banshee. Yeah, but I don't know. I think it's overdone. And I didn't think his fairies were that scary. Like 99% of the time they're just tricksters. And their pranks go too far. I felt like it could be the end easily or continue. Yeah, like you can do more with this, absolutely, and I would not mind. I would buy them immediately. But I do think this story overall is wrapped up. I like them, but I'm disappointed of the depth. Yeah, I can see that. That I can see. What I heard this weekend, no shame at all, but people found them quite annoying, actually. Especially how they kept making stupid decisions. And while I can absolutely see the decisions were stupid, I can kind of see where they're coming from. And I'm not able to say that I would have done it differently as a kid in this situation. So therefore I am not bothered with them making stupid decisions. But I do agree that I would have liked more depth of the characters, and I think that's why he told on the Instagram that he was in over his dad in an all-girls school. Just because these specific girl characters didn't speak to him, or he did not know how to write them more in depth. I do think as the sequel is a good place to give us more about the characters, and I do not feel like we got more from the characters than in the first book. Need more. Fair enough. I never have enough Phill Hichkes to begin with, so I can see. Yeah, we didn't get any more info about the mom, which we were hoping. Yeah, I was really hoping for the mom, but unfortunately, no. We did not see a drop off this time either, so we don't know if mom brought her to school now or not. I did find the phone call which she made to her parents. I found it funny how the dad was acting. I don't think it's smart, but it was funny to me. And I do think that phone call was telling something about the relationship between her and her dad, and as well as her and her mom. So I feel like in that particular one scene that we saw parents, I did feel like I saw a more caring mom than in the other one. But they're children, so their choices of what to do makes it. Yeah, I feel like I can rectify them. But I can understand why people were so annoyed by it. Just, I was reading it, I was like, yeah, would I have done it differently? I don't know. I'm just pissed off that they went from no more splitting up in the last book to Lily and wanting to prove herself by acting solo feels regressive. And I think it is regressive, Ewald. I think that's absolutely true. But, how am I gonna do this without spoilers? There is obviously a big event happening when three of the girls are extremely scared. Two of them are living their nightmares. And at that point, a lot of blaming is done. And I absolutely get that after such an event, for somebody who didn't have friends for a long time, that they feel obligated to prove themselves and therefore want to do it alone. I do not think it's smart. And it is not progressive at all. But I can see why that happens. I was more annoyed the second time around because I was like, all right, you just had a reminder, girls, like, because, you know, you have been reminded. That was more annoying to me than the first time. I think she felt like she was the one to help her friends in the end since the others were scared. No, I think they literally blamed her. And I think she blamed herself. So she decided to fix it herself, which wasn't a smart decision. Like, obviously that is not, you know, how written. The books are here to tell you that you can do more with friendship than alone. And that has been proven again. But yeah, I can see why she made that stupid decision. I can see. The second time, yeah. The first time is understandable. The second time was questionable. But also, I don't know how it is for you guys, but I would lie if I say that I would learn from my mistakes after one time. That is not always how it happens. I am known to have to make mistakes multiple times before I figure out that I'm making a mistake. So whack whack. Yeah, tiny bit though. But then again, I don't learn from my mistakes after one time, so the book is very manipulative, so she made decisions that weren't entirely her own. I absolutely agree. But was not doing it alone part of that? I think everything after what happened when she was gonna fix it alone, yes. Completely agree. And I think that what happened between the girls definitely because of the book. And there, you know, that is obviously the reason why she wanted to do it alone. So yeah, she could see that it is the book then, I guess. But I think she made that decision well, but clear-headed, at least. But you see, yeah, the second time around they should have, but you know, It annoyed me when the friends were getting angry. I get that. I absolutely get that. And I was annoyed by it too. When they were blaming Lillian as if they didn't do all the things themselves. I absolutely agree. But I think it's so human. Not saying it's good, but it is very human in my experience that people lash out to others when they're extremely scared, which they obviously were. And then the book has been manipulating them for days. With, the notes and the destruction of stuff. And I think that's all, they all carried that weight going into what is for them life-threatening, very scary situation. And in my opinion, that's when people it's that's what I have seen, that is when people lash out and are trying to not blame themselves. Yeah, trying to explain this whole thing without spoilers is hard, right? Yeah, friends, yeah. It was extremely annoying, but I can see why it happened like that in that specific moment. The part where they're blaming after they just wrote their own... Yeah. Like, she has told you, maybe not, maybe Angela is right, maybe no, and they're like, yeah, you got yours, we want ours. What I didn't get, if we're talking about that, and I guess we're also in plot now. We're still trying to do it spoiler free, but I don't think it's gonna take long now. What I don't get is how she called. I immediately lost her name now. Serena. Serena is a clever girl. She's clever. And she announces that she thinks the book can help them. And that is why she wants to use her secret. Why do you put in that secret? Knowing that the book is gonna twist things. Why make it so easy? You have not even tried. That was the most annoying thing to me in this book, because I think Serena is too clever for that. She would have at least twisted the secret to try and manipulate the book. But she just wrote her fear. That was Lynn's idea to see if the story was real, so... Yeah, that's, like... that was the original prompt, but they didn't need a lot of prompt. Like, Lily said it once, and then they were all like, oh yeah, that's cool. Except for Angela. Angela was against it the whole time. I am not as mad on Angela for blaming than on the other girls. But I absolutely get it that, this was the first prompt, so that is why they all jumped on Lillian when they were so extremely scared. I love how real the art teacher art store girls have a hot date with a curry soup. Oh, I love that part. That was great. I was like, shall I eat curry tonight? But then I decided no. I'm going to have dinner soon, so maybe. I mean, he puts a harmless one on, and then the two friends put something so right. And it... And I don't know, it was specifically Serena's secret was one that you just know that goes wrong when you put it in. At first, yeah. The Serena plot hole feels like it was written in to create a scary scene. Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. And then Lillian put the worst. Yeah. But that was because of the manipulation of the book. That was not her in her right mind. You know, she is described as extremely dizzy afterwards, not feeling well, not remembering completely. So I can't even blame that on Lillian because she's, you know, enthralled by the book. Let's call it like that. Oh my spiders! Because 90% people are scared of spiders, so it's got maximum ick factor. Yeah, and with that, I think we're into spoilers. So people, if you do not want spoilers, you're watching this later and you're like, oh, no spoilers yet. This is your time to leave, please, before it gets worse. If you want to say something without spoilers, this is your time. And then we'll go. Well, you have been excused for a curry, Stephanie. Bye. Have a nice dinner. Not the best weekend to choose biscuits with chocolate on it. The chocolate is soft. This is why that plot will bother me, and it feels like what you said earlier now. It just felt like, yeah, we know this is a plot hole, but we're gonna do it because I need this creepy, scary scene, and then come up with something that is so, yeah, easy. It was good, it was fun, and I liked the scene, but it is 90% people are scared of spiders. So you know that's gonna work, and you had to put it in somewhere. But I would honestly expect, you know, did we need it? If it would be deleted, would it have been worse? Because Marion still had a one with the darkness that I think proves the point. And was way more in character. I liked that was funny. Same. And I did like okay, because obviously, you know, we're spoilers now, so we can say everything. The book is magic, it's from a witch. It's not gonna be nice. And they're all waiting for days for something to happen. Nothing happens, and obviously the moment they think, we're clear now, it's not clear. And that's when they come with the menu full of carrots. Like, is that the worst thing you can do? But it's so funny to me because that forced her to eat it. If you would just put her in a room with carrots, she wouldn't have to eat them. But that was a very funny moment to me, yes. Same as, you know, the teacher with the curry. That was also one of my favorite moments. Yes. I would have loved a bit more about Mrs. Cuckoo. Maybe they dig up something from the Shadow Hall Sentinel about what happened to her. Yeah. I was hoping for that too. And I even had a theory for a second there that the new drama teacher, was actually Mrs. Cuckoo in disguise to protect the book. But unfortunately, that was not the case. But I suspected it there for a bit. When they just had battled the book, right? At the tea party. And then Mrs. Cuckoo was there in the dark. All of a sudden, I was like, or the new teacher was there. All of a sudden, I was like, are you Mrs. Cuckoo? Do you know what's going on? Miss Gloomy with a chance of balloon sure was a thing. Yes. I liked it. I did like that one. And I did really like that, although the imaginary friend was obviously twisted, the imaginary friend was darker in the beginning than she thought anyway. And I really like that twist, that there was already a bit of darkness going on with the imaginary friend that she brought to light, but she just didn't remember. Yes, that book was extremely straightforward and narrow. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there were a lot of surprising plot twists. I agree that there was not a lot of depth in the characters. It was just about the book, and it was quite easy to get rid of the book in the end. There is nothing really bad happened. You know, I get it that if you're covered with spiders, it's not nice and you're frightened by it, but you also won't die from it. You will not die from eating carrots. You will not die from being in the dark. And I think the first book was so good because there were actual very scary moments in it, and there were, you know, the bit with the ghost and the body horror that they were twisting each. That was so gross. And I missed that in this book. There were no moments like this. He obviously tried with the acronophobia, but that doesn't work for me. So, yeah, I think it was needed for it to shock factor, as it was one of the first times. It's like, oh, this book is serious. Yeah, but I don't think it did that for me, Kate, because I'm not that scared of spiders. So I get that it is very unpleasant, but you're not gonna die. He did not specify it were all black widows that were very poisonous. That would have been another thing. I think the one where it actually got serious for me was the tea party, where the imaginary friend has bounded all her friends and was actually like, yeah, I'll probably hurt you. And since she had the history of hurting people, that was the only scary moment in the book for me, that something could actually happen, but then it was resolved very quickly. Also easy to find. That book was very easy to find. Yes. Yeah. Miss Sunshine was sad. Yeah, I love Miss Sunshine. I didn't like her. Yeah, I loved her because of the set, because she was scary. I love to have her in the book, but I would not like her as a friend. I wish we had a drawing, an illustration of Miss Sunshine in the book, though. That would have been so good. How easy it was with the witch in the end. I wanted more. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah. Not much of the witch either. Who was she and how she lost the book on the first. I was hoping we would get into that too, but it was just girls, you know, putting secrets, putting secrets in the book that they know they should not. But I get that was part of the book manipulation, so that is fine by me. But there is no background checking, no nothing. We don't know anything. Did wonder just how imaginary Miss Gloomy was, as they did say the sister was attacked, and if it was Lillian, I don't think her mom would have been so fake about the attack. Yeah, and her mom specified even that when Lillian was very young, she told that she was always sitting close to the hatch because her imaginary friend came out of the hatch. That's what she told her. And she told her that she always came with a candle, and that she would put a candle on for her so she wouldn't be in the dark. And her mom specified that she saw a candle burning or a light coming from that specific spot in the hatch that Lillian always said her friend was coming from, while she knew Lillian was in bed. So it could not be Lillian. And that was the moment where I was like, all right, so what's going on? Is this real or not? And I would have liked if it would turn out that the friend was not imaginary, and we would go the route from, all right, what is the friend then? Is she fae? Is she a fairy? You know, are we getting dark fairies? Is she the witch from the book? And she needed more secrets to be able to come out. Like, what's going on here? I think the book should have been another 100 pages long. Yeah, I do think so. Yeah. Yeah. Easily. Like, with the things we come up with now, that we all would have liked seen in there. Definitely. Yeah. There could be so much more to this story, and I have to agree with Larissa that it was straightforward, and that is a bit of a shame. Because Phill Hichkes has written some of the most creepy and eerie plot twists to me, so maybe Miss Jones was a fae trying to steal it. Yeah, that's what I thought. Get out of my... See, we always have the same thoughts. We always have the same. And I was hoping that it was going there. Then I would not have mind fairies. Because we already got witches. I love witches. I was also thinking that maybe the new drama teacher was either Mrs. Kahoo or the witch from the book. Like, it has to be one of the two, right? That maybe the witch got rid of Mrs. Kahoo, and now, so she could do the new teacher. And I don't know, hunt on more secrets of the children. Is Miss Gloomy imaginary, a ghost, fae, witch, and could it be that this book conjured version of Miss Gloomy is a fake version? We might get a book about the real Miss Gloomy. That would be great. That would be great, but I don't think so. It sounded like Phill Hichkes was like, yeah, this series got away from me. I can't do this. I can't write this properly as it's supposed to, so I'm not touching it anymore. That's how it felt like to me with his answer. Obviously, I don't know. It was not an in-depth talk. We have exchanged 3 times. You know, there were 3 sentences exchanged. It was 3 comments. It's not a lot, so I don't know. But I don't think there's gonna be another Shadow Hall Academy book. And I think he will not touch these characters anymore. No, it is weird because I thought this was gonna be a trilogy, but I don't know if I've seen that somewhere or if I made that up. And if you look on the internet now and Google it, it says it's gonna be a duology. It's a duology. And then Phill Hichkes reacted to my post about this weekend, and he was like, "Hope you liked it." And I was like, "I did like it." I was just shocked there were only 2 books and not a 3rd one. And then he said that he felt over his depth with these books, writing an all-girls boarding school situation. So I'm not sure if that is the reason that, you know, if it was supposed that there were 3 books and he decided not to do it. Or if he was glad it was only 2 books because he was over in his depth and he could not put a 3rd book out with being the quality he wanted. I don't know. But that does make me believe he will not touch these characters anymore. Maybe she wasn't as imaginary as everybody thought. Yeah, I think she was not imaginary at all. But this is the problem, right? We don't know. That's what we needed done the extra 100 pages for. We need to know how it is with this not so imaginary friend. Because she also said, when Lily asked, "Am I the only one who can see you?" And she said, "For now." So I have been waiting the whole book for when she became visible, and then her friends would believe her, and then they would finally do something about it. So it was good to see that the friends believed her without being able to see her. That I did like. Her red eyes were mentioned a few times, so I wonder if she was going to be something evil, but he didn't go as in depth. Yeah, they even mentioned as red as a vampire. And then they started to describing the long nails and stuff, and I was like, ooh, are we dealing with vampires too? I'm intrigued. Like, I would not have been mad if it went that way. I would not have been mad. I mean, if somebody's getting it, if he doesn't think he can do the characters, yeah, absolutely, and like, fair. He identifies as male, so I think it's very fair that to say, I don't, I have a hard time imagining how a all girls boarding school would look like. I think that is very fair to say, and I think it's very brave to acknowledge that and say, like, yeah, guys, I was over in my depth. And I think, honestly, he did a pretty good job. Yes, I would have liked more depth from the characters in the second book. Because, yeah, it felt like we stood still after the first book, but he wrote the base of the characters pretty well. I think he did a good job. And I think he made the setting of an all-girls boarding school pretty good. I have never been to a boarding school, so I don't know, but with the cliques and a bit of bullying and also the we help each other part, yeah, that's how my all-girl team sports were. So I imagine that is how it is. But that is the thing, he could make a Miss Gloomy book, just not a shadow one. Either with Lily and his sister Evelyn moms or just one in the same universe, but like, yeah, I know he could. But the way he said it was so, I don't know, it felt definitive to me. Like, that's why I am assuming we're not gonna get it. Because he's not gonna touch these characters anymore. I don't know. I think it is, oh, we can ask him. Hi, Phill! Just want to say hi. Thanks for reading Yes to All Girls Boarding School thing. I was really stuck for middle-aged. And Annie, again, I think you did really well. Honestly. We all loved it, by the way. We all gave it 4 stars, Phill. So I think that's really, really well done for us being all adults who enjoyed these books. However, now you're here. We love Miss Gloomy. I don't know if you have a special bond with her, or if you have, you feel like you could do her justice. We love a book about her. If you have it in you, we would buy it. We would all love it. Thank you so much for stopping by. Oh my god. Hi, Phill. Yeah. Thank you so much for writing these awesome books. I've loved them all. And we are very aware that a new Phill Hichkes book is coming out this October. It's going to be about Halloween. It's called The Last Day of October. And I am, for one, going to buy it. So, thank you. Didn't think it was good as the first one either. Yeah, but I have to say that the first book, it was one of my favorites. It's very close. It's hard to point out which film you, right? And I loved it. It's so well done. This book is creepier than some of the adult horror I've read. And then The Bewitching of Evelyn Jones was my absolute favorite from that series. I love witches. It was so creepy. It was so eerie. I have read witches books that weren't as scary and they were adults, so. And then this was, I just love the setting so much. The school, the setting, and then with everything being twins, and you had the guts to put the ghost in that moment where they were twisting, and it kind of was a bit of body horror. You put that in a middle grade book, that is guts, and I loved it. So yeah, I don't know, guys, one of those 3. What's your favorite Phill Hichkes books? What is your favorite Phill Hichkes? Hi, Elena. I'll give it some time. Yeah, please don't feel pressured. It just, we all were like, that would be awesome. If that would happen, that would be great. You said his name so many times, you summoned him. I think Hickes has something to say too. I think he might not be completely human after all. Same as with Miss Gloomy. She is not imaginary. I don't think she is imaginary. I don't think so. My order is Evelyn 2. Alright. The Bewitching one. Yeah, I get it. Evelyn 1. Shadow Hell 1, Evelyn 3, and Shadow Hell 2. No, I think I like this better than this one. Because fairies just doesn't work for me as well as the others. But fair, I get it, Evil. Yeah, I think you're onto something. You might be onto something. Is my audio breaking up? Let me know. Because then it's lagging again and I just have to put it down maybe a bit. I'm so glad you like Evelyn 2. A lot of people prefer this first one. Evelyn 3 is my favorite. Oh, really? That is so interesting. Honestly, I thought this was a very popular one. Yeah, the fairy thing. I did like it. Like, my least favorite was a 4 stars, Phill, so least favorite has to be with a bit of salt. like what Evil said, never gave Phill Hichkes under 4 stars, and I think that is why you're my favorite spooky middle grade author. We have them all now, unless the new one comes out. I really like it. Yeah, but it's only 2 books. The rest was 5 stars. And then everybody here had the second book 4 stars, and a lot of them were also giving 5 stars for the first Shadowhawk Academy. And they loved it so much that they decided that we needed a weekend with biscuits, tea, and your books. So a lot of us have started rereading Evelyn Jones, or started reading it if they haven't yet, all this weekend, just because we needed some spooky vibes in summer. So perfect for summer. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody who likes to add? I think we had atmosphere, we had characters, we had plot. I think we covered it. But if not, let me know if you want to add something. This is my Dana. This is so funny to me. You will never be another human again. We'll leave you to it. I just want to say how honored and happy I am that you have read my books. Love you all. Have a great. Thank you so much for writing them. We had a great joy with your books. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye. What was that? Was it really Phill? That's amazing. I'm so sorry. That's amazing to me. That he took the time to do that. That is so nice. I'm sorry. That is just so nice. Yeah, it's so special, right? It's so special to me. What we need is a real life shadow to use as a B&B. Oh, that would be great. Yeah, that would be great. Doesn't that, yeah, we do have buildings like that, because the Steefskerk in Nijmegen is actually Gothic architecture. That would make a pretty good boarding school too. But they're not gonna allow us to do that, right? It's still an active building. I'm not sure if they use it actually as a church anymore, but they're doing a lot of events there. But mostly because I would be too scared. Probably. Especially if it's so cold. It's so hard to fall asleep for me. With all the drafts and stuff. And then imagine seeing Miss Gloomy outside with a candle. Then it's done. No more sleep. No more sleep for me. If we had Miss Gloomy with a candle outside my window. I did love the witches though. I do love myself some witches. 5. I think that is the most healthy response to have. Yeah. Imagine us all panicking about Miss Gloomy Ewald and you're just there sleeping. Get you there. Because we're all panicking and then you're just laying there, sleeping alone with Miss Gloomy in the end. Because we all jumped in Larissa's car. Yeah, that would not do well. But then some part of me would want to know, is it real? So, I guess we will figure out if we go outside. To get to the car, we have to walk past Miss Gloomy. I'm not sure if that is the smartest decision now anymore. I think she's fine. As long as we don't have to drink tea with her, we will survive. That is the main thing. I think that is the main thing. No, I think it's better sometimes that you don't know. I do think so. But then what? Would you be able to wake somebody? Because she could touch stuff. Because she just demolished everything from the girls. To blame Lillian, right? And she also had the power to whisper thoughts in your head. Because that's how she made the girl write Ask Lillian about the book note that has passed on in the whole. So I think she would be able to wake you. So I'm not sure if sleeping through this is the good act, because you're very vulnerable when you sleep. Miss Gloom is not tied to the place. No, those were the twin ghosts. She's tied into a person. I think she's tied to the book. And I think the question is, how far from the book can she go? This version of her, right? I think before she was reenacted by the book, she was tied to Lillian. So then she would go where Lillian go. Or is it? Is she bound to the hedge? Because that's where she always appeared to. She'd never been in the house with Lillian. And then now, she's tied to the book. Because the book brought her back to life. Right? So as long as no one takes the books with us, I think we're safe from Miss Gloomy. But then the book would automatically move. And if it can move from a cellar to one of the rooms, I assume the book can also move into a car. Which would make us screwed again. How far can you go before the book pops back up in your belongings? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That is my point. That is the scary part. I think she's tied to the book, but the book can move itself. So that's not helpful. That's not helpful at all, is it? Oh well. That's an easy thought for tonight. Let's sleep on that. I also love how the book is called The Ghost Story Society, but it was cancelled 2 to 3 times. Yes. Yes. But the idea of the Ghost Story Society I love so much. And as soon as I saw the title of the book, I was like, if I ever make another club, that is how it is supposed to that is the name. Like, that's how it's supposed to call it. Because this is such a good club name. But yeah, then I would prefer it not to be cancelled 2 out of 3 times. Let me sleep and take 2 or 3 cards and have the book be split between us. Yeah. I think then it depends. Because my first reaction would be then I'm afraid that you will be stuck with the book alone. But it depends. If she bonded with one of us in the car, then we're screwed. I think that's how it goes. I think that's how it goes. But I think that's it for tonight. I think we discussed the book as good as we could. I think it was a very fun book. And I think my expectations were higher because by now I have high expectations of him. Like, his books are always so good. So I don't know. I enjoyed it. I loved having this weekend with you all. I love that we all got biscuits or something nice and something nice to drink. And then we all were reading Phill Hichkes books, spooky books. It was just a good time to me. So thank you all for participating this weekend, as well as in this live show. I have one more question though. I see I'm lagging. Is it bad for you guys? For August, we're having Never Marathon, and I would like to have a spooky group book. So if you have any suggestions for a spooky group book, it can be any age range, it can be, and you know, short story, comic, manga, whatever, full length on novel. It doesn't matter as long as it has spooky vibes. If you have a book you would like to read together, please leave it in the Nevermore, the Weathervane chat on the Discord. And then I will make a poll. Haunting of Fortune Farm, that sounds good. I'm gonna write it down. Options, though. That's the word I'm looking for. Haunting of Fortune Farm. Yeah, I still have to look into it too. I can already tell you, if you're going with the new Amy McCall book, it will not be in the poll because that will be the group book for Halloween camp. Because it comes out in September. End of September. So I want to do that one in October. And I don't think I don't know out of my mind, but as soon as I look at my wish list, I'm like, oh yeah, those 20 would do. If it would have Adam's Family vibes, it would be perfect. But I think that, as far as I know, if it has Adam's Family vibes, I've read it. And I would like to not do a reread, if at all possible. But that was it. That was my last question of the day. Thank you all so much for being here. And it's also getting very laggy now, so let's quit. And I will see you all in the Discord. And until the next time, bye!